He's back, y'all.
Hey.
Y'all see?
I'm back in the house. Left my bracelets at the church. That was not a cool thing for me. One's for this wrist.
Oh, yeah.
Just took them off
Red
last night
one,
when I was working. Yeah.
Hey.
If y'all respond right now, I can talk back to you. Because we got a couple of minutes, so if you all came on early, you're in good shape. I think eventually he'll be coming on.
Oh, I see you. Talentia Bolden.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Good morning.
I've been watching you all getting it in. You and my granddaughter getting it in. I've been watching y'all doing it.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no, we don't need that, though. Right.
All right.
Thank you, sir. I'm not doing it. I'm waiting for the intro.
I brought the sunshine with this yellow. Hey.
Bibles over bags.
Every day.
Bibles over bundles.
Every day.
Over bags.
Yes, over bundles.
Oh,
That's good.
BB.
That's funny though. There will be a lot more Bibles.
Yes, we did. All right, somebody just came on. I don't know who that
Talentia
was.
say welcome back.
Thank you so much. I am back.
Welcome back.
You know, it'd be something if the music had already started and we didn't hear it.
Right.
And we're just,
And we just
going
in
on,
here
doing
talking.
on. People are like, when you all start teaching? Oh,
There it is.
do right. Do right.
It's time now for the teachings of Pastor J.E. Sturdy.
Ain't ready for this.
The whole head.
Don't want none of that.
Hey.
Don't want none of that.
Hey.
Don't want none of that.
They ain't ready.
God bless you. God
Good
bless you.
morning.
God bless every one of you. Tracy
good
Jefferson.
morning. Hey.
Listen, this is the day that the Lord has made. I'm
Hey.
rejoicing.
Hey.
And I am extremely glad in it. Listen, I am Pastor J.E. Sturdivant, Brother J.E. Sturdivant, Dr. J.E. Sturdivant.
Welcome
I'm
back.
J.E. Sturdivant. Yes,
Welcome back.
I'm here. Back from the sunny shores
Ah,
of Lagos, Nigeria.
the sunny shores.
Yes. Rock Nobles. I see you. Wanda Briscoe. I see you.
morning.
I am back from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. That is my home.
Yeah.
I just visit in the DMV area. You know, all they can see is the top of our heads on this. I hope they can see more when we kind of get there. 'Cause they can just see the top of our heads. But we're here.
We here, y'all.
That at least lets you know that we are
Right.
here. You know, it is very, very possible that we're not even wearing anything on the bottom
That
half.
could be the case. We're just all wearing
But
shirts.
you wouldn't know.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
kind of like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
when they be doing the TV shows and the news people,
Right.
they never show
They never
the
show
Lord.
this.
Yeah.
They
never
just show
show-
the desk and
They
show
got
this.
shorts on,
Right.
flip-flops, but then got on a jacket, a shirt, and a tie
Yep.
up the top, like they
Right.
really got a suit on
You know,
all
I
that
do feel
time.
like an anchor right now. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. We are right
I like
now.
it. I do like it because it gives like a little suspense. Like, oh, that's what it was.
That's why I'm with that move. I'm with that move. Hello,
Yes.
WBGR family.
Right.
We are here. But it's good to be here. Good to be
Jean
back.
said, "Oh my Lord."
Good to be back right here in the WBGR
We here.
studios, under the control of the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Lionel Green.
Thank
Yes.
you, sir. Thank you.
We
Thank you.
love him
Thank
so
you.
very, very much. And we appreciate him, his wonderful, wonderful, beautiful queen, and his family. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Appreciate
And those
y'all.
grandchildren. See, that's when you know you've really stepped up like that. When you're just saying, yeah, I was with the grandkids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we thank God so much for them. And holding us down on the other side of the glass is Coy the comedian.
Thank you,
Coy
sir.
the comedian.
You got a fresh
He
look
is making
today.
it happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Trying to be all
I
clean
was seeing
today.
he came in there looking
Yeah, trying to
you
be
know,
all clean. Mm-hmm.
face all sliced up, hair all shaped up, you know. I'm like, you know, see, I hate people that still have hair. and can do things with it.
Right.
I am
Get a
right
different
now.
look.
I'm follically challenged, and so you know I've
You can just change your beard a
I
little bit
changed my
every now and then,
beard,
yeah.
and that's what I did. I shaped it up this morning.
good job.
I let it grow just a little bit while I was in Nigeria.
it.
You know, so here we are.
It looks good.
And this is it.
Yeah.
I went and got my eyebrows done, so hopefully that's all the hair I can
You
do.
did good.
That's it.
You did good. You
But
did good.
listen, let me welcome the WBGR family, the YouTube family. Listen, if you all know anybody YouTube, if you all know anybody WBGR that is still trying to find me on Facebook, would you please get in touch with them immediately and tell them I'm not there. Tell them to come and join you on YouTube. And if you would on YouTube, I think there's a spot where you can share this and
share
everything.
this. You really
Would you
can.
please share it and let them know? And especially when it's finished as well, hit that
Replay.
share so that they can do it and go back and watch it over and over again. Numbers matter, and we have just gone completely cold turkey. We're not even doing, you know, Facebook anymore. And I mean, that's just like cold turkey. You know, we just like, I don't know. I wanted to just go ahead and
Right,
put up
right,
one
right, right,
camera.
right.
I wanted to do just one camera one more time.
One more time.
You know, but we've just gone cold. We
Yep.
just done.
Yeah.
You know, we did it for a little bit, a couple of weeks, and when I went out of the country, Janice and Steph was just like, no.
No, it's not
you
an
know,
option.
and they just went on and just did it like that. So I want to celebrate Janice and Steph. You know, I'm gonna introduce them properly, but I want to thank them because for the 2 weeks that I was on travel, they held down all of my teaching sessions and kept it going on. I was watching them, wanted to try to get in touch to call in, but the time was so different, and I could not make that connection. And then when I could make the connection time-wise, the Wi-Fi or whatever was not like I wanted it to be because there were so many people on the camp. Can you believe we had in our one arena, it's the 3x3 kilometer, 3 kilometer by 3 kilometer arena. We had 10 million people
Wow.
in that one.
Wow.
And it was so many people until we had to use the overflow of the old auditorium. And that was 4.5 million people in the old auditorium
Wow.
and 10 million in the new auditorium. That's not even mentioning all of the other people that were out
Yep.
there, all of the youth, all of the young people. We had a total of about 16 million people
That's amazing.
on the
That's
ground.
amazing.
That was just an unbelievable thing. And you imagine 16 million people calling on Jesus. Not 1,600.
What was the actual occasion that brought all those people together?
Well, this is a part of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, RCCG. If anybody goes on the internet and just Googles rccg.org, you're going to wind up seeing that we are the fastest growing Pentecostal movement in the world. It is under the direction of God's Son, the most humble man, the meekest man on all the earth, E.A. Adeboye, Adeboye. He is my father. He has called me in as his son. Changed my name to Bamidele, Bamidele, which means come follow me home. And so I've been going there for 20 years. 3 times a year. But he calls us together for this occasion for 3 major times a year, once in March, once in August, and once in December. And we have these gatherings where everyone comes. I mean, can you imagine? All of us there calling on the Lord, and we have miracles, we have signs, we have people whose legs grow, we have people who have grown feathers that disappear, we have people who had growths on their necks the size of another head that vanished instantly. Of course, resurrections from the dead, but resurrections from the dead have become almost commonplace now. Blinded eyes open, multiple births. One of my brothers in the Lord down in Texas, he's a pastor. He and his wife have been waiting for the fruit of the womb. They have been waiting for the fruit of the womb for a child. They got married in their 30s. They have been waiting, no children. Do you know that God blessed them? That at the age of 58 and his wife at 56.
That's not even
They had a
that bad.
child.
Wow.
And then at the age of 60 and his wife at 58, they had another child. It is an amazing thing. Children are healthy, strong, doing well. It's just an amazing thing watching God do that. One woman who had no womb. She had no womb. She had no womb. She was already in her 50s. She had passed the childbearing age, had not been married, got married in her 50s, and with no womb, God gave her triplets. These are the type of things that are happening over in Lagos, Nigeria, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, based there. And I'm telling you, it is a pilgrimage. Just like our Muslim brothers and sisters go to Mecca and have to do that, people that are of the Christian foundation and faith make their journey to Lagos, Nigeria. And
one of the things I will say as far as Lagos, because not that those miracles don't take place here in America,
because they do happen
because
in our
they
ministry.
do happen, because we are a place where miracles still happen.
Absolutely.
But it's a thing when you go to Lagos, because I've had the privilege to travel there,
Many
and
times.
you see many times, and you see how where there they are depending on God solely.
That's all they have.
They only have God,
That's it.
whereas we in America, we kind of use God when it's convenient for us.
Absolutely.
But when you see when somebody is desperate because they don't have what they can call, you know, BB, what is that? What's that electric company? BGE?
Yeah, BGE,
You know,
yeah,
call
all those type of
BGE
things.
or call, you know, Pepco or call
Right.
somebody to turn on electricity. It's just a matter of God, please work this out. Whereas
Absolutely.
here, you know, we try to use all of our other sources first. And then if those sources don't work out, then we call on
And we
God.
call on God.
Yeah.
The difference is that over there is God at the center of everything,
Right.
and then their lives revolve
Yes.
around God. Whereas here we have everything else, and then try to make God fit in.
Right.
So, and that's the difference, you know. Over there, they love God, and as you stated, over here we use God. Over there, they need and are wanting God desperately. Over here, God is our last-ditch effort when everything
Right.
else has failed.
Right.
And so I invite everyone. We took 13 people with us on this trip.
It's amazing.
We've taken 21 on another trip. Took 15 about 2 years ago. And I'm gonna tell you one thing about going to Nigeria is that everyone who goes to Nigeria with me, I'm gonna tell you just quite honestly, everyone that goes to Nigeria with me from our ministry, it either digs them in deeper to the ministry or runs them out of church completely. Because there is something about going and seeing what real ministry, real relationship looks like, and you realize how far we are from being what God says He wants us to be. The so-called church. And I use that when everybody hears me teaching or ministering, I'll always say the so-called church. And I say that because the thing that has morphed into church now, which is actually the offspring, the spawn of secular humanism and our own ideology with a touch of religiosity, has now birthed this thing that we have called the church. But don't nobody love Jesus.
Yeah.
Nobody's really believing Him. Nobody's believing they can live holy. Nobody's believing they can be perfect. Nobody's believing that miracles can still happen, because in this country, we are a country of convenience, and anything that requires too much effort, we try to rationalize it, and if it takes too much time, we walk away from it, which is why the so-called church here in America and in other advanced places winds up being a place where people can intellectualize everything and don't have the ability to have faith for anything. And so I'm honored that my father gave me the name, and I go there, as I stated, 3 times a year, and he comes to my home once a year, and I'm just blessed. If you go to a 2008 Newsweek magazine, I was looking at it last night and saw my father once again. One of the top 50 most influential persons on the planet is E.A. Adeboye. And you'll know that Newsweek magazine because on the front of it, it's got President Barack Obama standing just like this. And at the top of his head, coming out the top, it's E.A. Adeboye. What a wonderful, wonderful thing that my father's name is right at the top of E.A. Adeboye. E.A. Adeboye is right at the top of Barack Obama's head. And so we're grateful for what the Lord has done, getting me over there and getting me back. And I'm sad to be back, even though I'm glad to be back. But I'm looking forward to going back again very, very, very soon. They want me to stay. And I'm doing a lot of contemplating, a lot of praying. And so you all pray as well, because there is a need over there that I believe the Lord is calling me to. So I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I'm thankful for that. But now listen, you all, I told you that I've got over here on the left of me, you all see her right there, but WBGR, you see her, she is here. StephTheBest.net.org.com, the DOT, box of dots,
Yes.
.edu.
Yes.
She is back, and she I was watching last week, and I don't know, I'm starting to feel some kind of way for a couple of weeks while I was away. And here's the reason why I was starting to feel some kind of way.
While you're away.
Is because, I was feeling it because while I was here,
Sure.
you know,
She wasn't.
she wasn't.
Sure.
But as soon as I'm gone,
Yep.
then all of a sudden she magically
Right.
gets off from work.
And then she
magically,
wants to feel some sort of way today.
Right.
It's like,
I don't understand, you know. So, Steph, go ahead and greet the people. Say hi to WBGR
Hey,
YouTube.
good morning, WBGR YouTube. Tune in. That's what's up. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to do something new. I know we said last week, YouTube is a transition. So make sure we stay hip.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all transition with us.
Right.
And bring people on so they know to look on YouTube.
Gotta come.
Share on your
You.
Facebook. Log on to YouTube so they can watch us live. And we would definitely appreciate that. WBGR, thank you so much for being faithful tuners. Anybody that's new, welcome. I'm ready to get you some basic teaching.
Come on.
I always appreciate basic teaching because sometimes when people talk, I'm not understanding.
Oh.
Or it's just not touching me, or I
Right,
cannot
right,
relate.
right.
But when it's basic, it's like, oh, I get it.
There
You can't miss it when it's basic. So have people join in, share WBGR. Thank you for tuning in consistently, and just keep in tune because we're doing big things over
Oh, we
here.
are doing it.
We
We're
are.
doing big things. They're gonna keep on sleeping on us, and when they finally get woke, they're gonna realize that the hibernation was not a good thing. Simply
Yeah.
because God is doing some stuff with
They kept
us, and we're
sleeping.
very, 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 very grateful for that.
because all we
super.
do is win, win, win,
No
no matter what.
Hey.
With Jesus on my mind, I don't care.
You know what?
Every time I step up in the building,
Back to this.
everybody hands go up.
Hey!
And they stay there. And they stay there. And they stay there.
Say, wait a minute. I thought this was like a gospel.
It is, but we
It is.
winning. We winning as
And
Christians.
we have balance because
Yes.
we're basic teaching.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all we
That's
win.
one of the most basic things you have to know
Yes.
as a believer. Have balance in your life. You
Balance.
have got to have
Balance.
balance
Have it.
in your life.
Absolutely.
Oh my! I've got on the right of me. She is
Hey,
here.
y'all.
She is here. She
Hey, y'all.
is
Hey, y'all. Hey,
my
y'all.
admin.
Hey,
She is the
hey.
one that keeps everything connected, so that folks can stay connected with me and all that kind of stuff. So glad to have her here
glad to be
with
here.
us, Jossia. She got the
Hey.
Bible over bags.
That's balance.
And
See,
we
I
added,
read the Bible
you know,
over bags. That's
yeah,
balance.
but we added some more to. We said Bible over bags.
Yep.
The Bible over bundles. Bible over bundles. Over bundles. And you gotta have the Bible over babes.
Yeah. Ooh.
And Bible over buns.
Yeah.
You got to.
Yep. Booze.
Yeah, your
Boys.
You got to have the Bible over
Yes,
everything.
everything.
Can't let none of the seek ye first.
Hey.
The kingdom of God
Basic.
There you go.
and his righteousness.
All from a t-shirt.
See that?
All from a t-shirt.
All these other things
Yes.
will be added to you.
Right.
You can get the bag.
You can.
The booze, the buns.
Yeah.
You can get all those if you just seek the Lord first. He
Get
says,
into
and
the
all
Bible.
these things
We'll be at
will
it.
be added to you.
We're going after the wrong things first.
Ah, my
We're going over the
God.
bags and we spending our money on shoes and stuff first. Hey, get
Out of
into the
order.
Bible. Yeah.
Out of order.
Yeah.
So out of order. Dysfunction, which is what we've been dealing with.
Right.
Something happened in your family, got you all jacked up.
Priorities out of whack.
Just
Hey,
go
y'all.
and talk to the people, greet the
Good
people.
morning, good morning. Hey, y'all, look, WBGR, we excited. Y'all know, y'all can tell that we miss each other
Yes.
because
Yep.
although, one may be gone for work or travel, and the other two hold it down, and now that I think about it, I'm the only one
What?
who has not
She was waiting for
left.
that.
I know.
When I think about it, let me just express this, WBGR, because
She
if
was
you
waiting
all
for that.
notice,
I've heard it.
I'm the one that stayed consistent. I'm just letting y'all know. I'm the one that's here when he's on
Yeah.
travel and when he's on and when she's working. So
You did it.
I'm just saying.
clap.
I'm just saying. They hating y'all. See, they hating. But I'm glad to be here, y'all. It is good to have like that
And
camaraderie.
WBGR YouTube, her face is beat today.
It is.
Her
This
face is
true.
For the
so
God.
beat.
This is true.
Her
It
serve.
is.
Listen,
giving it
her
to you a
face
little
is
bit.
like what? And you know what? I'm here for all of it. So,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
it's just a wonderful. What? What? You
Yes,
know,
y'all.
our face looks like it's been beat up.
Exactly. I was in a fight.
They're playing too much. See, look. We excited.
You got a
I'm
little glitter
excited.
to it. Like it's
You
like
know,
some
it's that
glitter.
summer. It's that summer glow. You know, you
like
give a
it.
little shimmer shine to
There
it.
you
You
go.
know, since I haven't been in the beach and tanned or nothing, I just give a little glow. But thank y'all so much for being with us, and thank you all who was with us last week. You know, I know it's good to see the person, the host of this awesome broadcast, and I know when some of you all see him or don't see him, you know, you're over it. But we had some who did stay with us, so thank y'all YouTube. Thank you for your support, and we here. I mean, this is basic teachings. We said it last week. Is not gender, rated. It's not an age limit to it. Everybody can receive and listen to this, and we want you all to share it on YouTube, replay it. We're doing a YouTube thing because we're opening up and branding in a lot of ways, and you all going to see some bigger things happening with the broadcast before this year is out. So that's why when we say when we move, you move like that. You know what I mean? When I
We move, you move.
What? Just like
that. When
I
we move,
what?
you move.
What?
Just
Just like that.
When we move, you move.
Just like
Oh
that.
yeah, come on, y'all. Just play that back. When
Please.
we
Hey,
move, you move.
just like that.
When we move, you move.
Just like
When
that.
we move, you move.
Just like that.
Don't just watch it for yourself. Go on and she said Bible over bars.
Bible, jeez. Yes, the Bible with bars.
I'm
Yes.
done. Take it over, Pastor. I'm done. I did my greeting.
But it's
done.
just so good. It's so good to be here and to be back. And we genuinely
Yes.
love each other.
We do.
Genuinely.
Yeah. It's real love.
We don't fake this. You know, I love these young ladies, and I mean,
too.
I told Steph she's been in my world for so long until I can't even remember when she wasn't.
Me either.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's just that kind of a thing. She's just such a wonderful, wonderful young lady, and I can't say enough about Janice. This is just my girl. This is just my girl. Period. That's you can't do anything with that. So I'm just very, very grateful for them wanting to be a part of this. Because when I was telling them about what I wanted to do before, they were just like, Janice was just working on the other side of the glass, like Coy the comedian is doing now, and Steph would just come around just because she would be hanging around. And I said, hey, listen, I want you all to come on in, and I want to talk about something. And so they came in and started talking. And then the next thing you know, it became a part whereas I was like, well, if I can't do the show with them, I'm not going to do the show here. So we moved to this station, WBGR, where they gave us the leeway because people got used to hearing all three of us because they gave the millennial perspective. They were helping grandmothers and grandfathers, helping people who were dealing with young people to try to figure it out. And so we saw why that was so necessary because if I'm just talking, then I'm going to talk maybe based on my age group, my perspective as a parent. But what I learned is that there are people who are not me, who are listening to me, and they need to maybe hear another perspective. So I really appreciate them for wanting to come on and being a part of this. And so whatever we are, the way you see us now, if you see us on the street, we're going to be the exact same way. If we're cutting up now, you catch us somewhere else, we're going to be cutting up again. So if you're waiting for us to be real deep and everything all of the time, we're not going to be that. We're going to take the simplicity of the gospel and apply it to your situation, and you'll wind up seeing that if you get some basic teachings, you will have the ability to conquer all of the problems because we're going to use biblical principles. We're doing basic teachings using biblical principles that'll help you in every area of your life.
The basic teachings not just only come when we do the broadcast, but we also have some basic teachings with Pastor Sturdivant.
Yep.
And he has written 6 books.
Yep.
And in each book, I'm telling you, there are plenty of basic teachings. We've read the books. We've had the opportunity to talk about the books. These books, Steph and I, when we were talking about it and we were sharing it the last 2 weeks, we both gave our personal insight as it relates to the testimonies that we've received from each book.
Wow.
And we told them we're not just saying that just because we are part of the shows, but these books are timeless.
Yeah.
You can read this book now, you can read it 10 years from now, and it will still have that impact, encouragement in small doses.
The reason why that's so important is because sometimes you don't have a lot of time to get what you need when you're confronting a problem. This will give you a short statement that will help you to just get over any area, whether it's about yourself, relationships, holding on, transitioning, or knowing how to deal with love. It's a tremendous tool.
A divine hunger.
If whatever you are hungry for is what you're going to go after. So you've got to now curb your appetite.
No longer crippled from trauma to triumph.
Everybody that comes into your life for a particular season is not supposed to stay there longer than that season. Be careful of who connects to you when you're in transition.
Daily confessions for impacting your world.
It's what you say that you're going to see. If you don't want to see it, don't say it.
Hearing and knowing the voice of God.
There are only three primary voices in the world: the voice of God, the voice of the enemy, and the voice of your own flesh. The voice of God is going to always line up with his word. The voice of the enemy is going to sound like the word, but will tell you you still have time to do it. And the voice of your flesh will always line up with what makes you feel most comfortable.
That's good. Learning to soar.
You've got to decide, I'm tired of being in the valley. I'm tired of being average. I'm tired of being normal. I want something more, and I'm getting up from here. I'm amazed at how many people ask God for anointing and then want to say, why can't I be like everybody else?
Right. Want to be average.
I mean,
Want to be normal.
You want God to put his super on your natural so you can just stay natural superly. No. And I just made that word up, but it fits.
Yes.
But you have to decide that you want something more, want to do something more, want to be something more, and then go about doing and being what you said you want. You said you want to have a house at a certain time. What have you stopped buying now so you can have your house at that time? Because whatever you are wanting, you have to prepare in your now for your later. The mistake, you didn't know how powerful that prophetic word was when you used to eat that candy, now and laters. That was a prophetic candy.
Yeah, it was.
Now and laters. Because it wasn't now or laters, it was now and laters. That candy would be so good until it would satisfy you for now, but you could suck on it so long until it had a lasting impression for later.
Yeah.
And most people, they do not recognize that what you do in your now will affect your
later.
next.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sounds good.
Ooh.
I bet y'all ain't buying now and ladies no more.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I don't want that. Don't want that. Don't want that. But we're glad to be here.
So if you want to purchase these books, because these are some awesome books that you can purchase that are available for you to get, you can do that. And we are encouraging everybody, WBGR family, to go on to Pastor Sturdivant's personal webpage. That's where you can get his books. You can get some of his sermons. You can see some of the videos of him preaching. You can get some of the events of the engagements that he's about to be a part of. You can be in the now with Pastor James E. Sturdivant.
I promise
And you can do that by going to www.jesturdivantministries.com. Again, that's www.jesturdivantministries.com. WBGR, that's also the webpage that you can view the YouTube channel of us doing the broadcast.
That's right.
And YouTube family, you all can just go, when you log off of here, you can just go on the page and just kind of surf it, and you can purchase the books. Or if you want to become a sponsor or partner, you want Pastor Sturdivant to be a part of your next engagement event, or you want to tap into it because you see the influence and the effect that he's having and the impact that he's having on people's lives, and you have an event, you have a occasion, you have something that you want to have promoted, and you want Pastor Sturdivant to do that, you can do that. I'm gonna give you that phone number in just a second, but I'm gonna also give you this information in case you want to sow a seed. You want to be a blessing because he has been a blessing to you.
Yes.
Whether it's his books, his sermon, or as I stated before, I stated last week, you don't have a lot of pastors these days who are accessible.
Right,
Where you
right,
can call
right.
on them, you can send them a direct message on Facebook, you can reach out to them and they'll respond back. You don't have a lot of those type of people that you call your shepherds, your leaders that can be accessible to you. And if you know that he's been that to you and has blessed you and your family, you can sow a seed just saying, hey, Pastor, thank you for being who you are and all that you are to my life and to my family. You can sow that seed to the Cash App handle, and that is the $ capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. Again, that Cash App handle is the $ capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. Or if you want Pastor to be a part of your next event or want to connect with Pastor, here's the phone number that you can reach him on: 301-736-2383.
Tell them again, Donna.
301-736-2383.
Tell them just one more time.
301-736-2383. Call that number. Ask to speak to me, Janice, and we will get that connected with you.
God bless you. Thank you so much. some people just come on just so they can hear you get to that part. And once we give the phone number out, they
They
log
done.
off.
They done.
They're like,
A
well,
lot of people say they remember that number just from that beat.
oh, I know it. I know
Yeah.
it. You know, and we need to go on and just market it
Yeah, we
or
do.
do something.
Yeah,
we do.
Patent it for somebody else take it.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to use that for their phone numbers now.
Right, they do.
247-662. Yeah.
No, that doesn't work. Those numbers don't go
They have
together.
the same. They
Yeah.
have the same feel. Numbers have a flow to them.
Right.
They have a flow to them. When I was growing up, I used to think numbers had colors.
Yeah.
I did. You know, I
Yeah.
said like 5 is red.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I used to have numbers, you know, like blue was 3 in my mind. So I would see numbers and colors whenever I did
What was
things
7?
like that. 7 was like yellow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened when you add numbers?
When I add numbers,
You get a mixed
I
color?
get a rainbow. I get you. I get you. I get a box of dots.
That's exactly what happens.
How to get me?
Right.
I just came back from Africa. I'm enjoying it.
Right. The responses are quick. Don't play with them.
Don't
Like,
try.
that was a good response.
Don't try.
It's all connected.
Right.
So listen, we've been talking with you over the past few months.
We have been.
And you know, then the reason why we have to keep doing it is because you don't get over a thing just by listening to someone tell you what the problem is. You know, the mistake that we make is that it's just like when you go to the doctor. You go to the doctor, you say, Doc, I don't feel good right here. And the doctor lets you talk about what you're feeling. And then he says, well, here's what I think, but let's run some tests. Then he runs the test, lets you go, comes back, and says, so-and-so and so, I want you to come in, I want to talk to you about the results. Then when you come in and talk to him about the results, he then says, here's what we found, that the reason why you felt thus and such was because of this. Now, here's what you need to do. We can either handle it with this, or this, or this. And then you choose whether you want to use this method, this method, this method, or ignore it. But just ignoring it does not make what you were feeling, nor the reason why you were feeling it, go away. And a couple of weeks ago, Janice challenged and asked a question. She said, you all are saying that you enjoy this teaching, you enjoy what's being said, you enjoy what's coming forth, but the real question is, how have you been applying what you've been getting? Because we have been talking over the past several months about family dysfunction. And she said, have you gone back to your family? Have you gone back to look into some of the reasons why certain things are happening in your family? Have you gone back to try to realize why you make the decisions that you make? Have you questioned what was it about you? And then she got very personal. She said, I have to ask myself, why do I, after a time of being free, go back to old things? And that's a real serious thing because, see, where there is family dysfunction, hear me clearly, the family dysfunction did not come and go and it left because you moved out the house.
Right.
Your dysfunction of how you deal with relationships outside of the home come as a result of the dysfunction or how you dealt with relationships inside of your home. And many people do not go back and ask, Ma, Dad, what about Aunt so-and-so? Tell me about your parents. Tell me about your background. And we don't ask those questions simply because we really don't want to have to deal with the truth because we've gotten comfortable with saying, I am who I am. Just love me or leave me. Either accept me or kick rocks. You know, and it's easy to say that and it's easy to do that. But if you really want to establish long-term, lasting relationships, you have to deal with what made you form those relationships. Now, some relationships were formed from a good place. And then some were not formed from a good place. And as a result of them not being formed from a good place, you'll wind up establishing a soul tie to something that you need to cut ties with. but you've got to deal with the root of the thing so that you don't just keep on saying, well, this is the fruit of it. This is why this, and this is this, and this is that. And I don't understand, and I don't understand, and I don't understand. Have you gone back to search to try to figure out why this was what it was? Because we shared with you in one of our previous teachings that you, the one you, are the product of your mother and your father, but then also the product of their mother and father on each side, and then their mother and father on each side. You are the makeup of no less than 16 people. And so, you know, you have got all of these things inside of you that make you you, and you're trying to figure out why is that. And we're not even taking into consideration now what the spiritual background was in your life. We're not even taking into consideration what your upbringing was. We're not trying to even take into consideration what your educational level is. We haven't even taken into consideration, was there any kind of physical, sexual abuse? We haven't taken into consideration, have you done anything that got you in trouble with the law? You had to do time in jail. There are so many things that make you you, and even though today we see you as you are, there is a history of people, experiences, events, heartbreaks, and things that have made you formulate the mentality that you have right now. And we have been using the prodigal son in Luke chapter number 15 as our case study because it is what is not dealt with in the house that can run you from the house and then start establishing the way you handle your money, the way you handle relationships, the type of relationships you get into, the ones that are superficial or long-lasting, the one that you will chase after that's not chasing after you, and what you will settle in and with, even though you know there's better on the inside of you. Do y'all want to say anything before I go on?
I think it's very true. And I think one of the things that we don't realize as it relates to just family, because one, family is who you can't choose, of course.
You cannot choose
Family-
your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your aunt. You can't choose them.
You can't choose them. That's who you were giving. That's who God created you to be a part of. And a lot of times when we're lacking something for family, I think that's very important, is if we're lacking something from family, we're looking forward in another relationship. I
Right.
literally was just having this conversation with the group home girls last night, and we had did a thing where some of the girls had to write a letter and had to address, you know, some of the issues that they had with their father who
Wow.
wasn't there. And it was, you know, tough for one of the girls, and then another girl, she was just so angry. But she was saying every girl needs their father.
Yes.
And she said the reason why, you know, I have been in some of the relationships or I have committed some of the crimes that I committed
Right.
was because I didn't have this. And we showed her point in it as far as her responsibility, but she also was able to connect, you know what, had my father been there to show me, okay, this guy for me is not good, or this is what I shouldn't settle for, that probably would have prevented as far as me getting into this relationship.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that we have to kind of look at when you think about from young people, and we just always see them acting out a certain way, but there's a reason. As you was young as well, adults, there was a reason why you got into some of the things because of a lack of something else.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things, Janice, before I have Steph to come on, one of the things that I was sharing when I was teaching a particular passage of scripture, I was dealing in Mark chapter number 9, verse number 14 on down, Mark 9, verse 14 on down, and it was showing something that was going on, and it's a story, many of you all know it, of the man whose son had a spirit. And I want you, Janice, just kind of look at this, and I want to show something because it's based on what you had just now said, and the Lord brought it to my memory. Please look at Mark chapter number 9, beginning at verse number 14.
And when he came to the disciples,
Right.
he saw a great multitude around them.
Now, Jesus had been up on the Mount of Transfiguration. He had taken Peter, James, and John. They were up there on the mountain. Glory was being revealed. And here were the leaders of the church, Peter, James, and John, who were there with the head of the church, Jesus Christ. And they went to sleep right at the point when glory was being revealed. And one of the reasons why people have gotten turned off, even as it relates to church and so-called church, is because when Jesus is trying to reveal glory, the leadership has gone to sleep.
Yeah.
They've gone to sleep because they're so glad to be in the position until they aren't doing anything to maintain the position. They are so glad to be with Jesus until they're not even concerned that you are with him for a reason. They're so glad to be elevated above the people until they got in the position and went to sleep when they should have been considering the people with what they were up there for. You are in a position for the sake of somebody who is down in the valley dealing with some issues.
comfortable.
Go ahead now.
And scribes disputing with them. Immediately, when they saw him, all the people were greatly amazed and running to him, greeted him.
They were so glad to see Jesus. Now, all the people are at the foot of the mountain. They were having a discussion, an argument with the church, the body of Christ, because the head was up on the mountain. The body, the rest of the disciples, were down in the valley. And there was a group of people having a discussion with the body of Christ. And when they saw Jesus coming, I want you all to hear this. Here's another revelation on this passage of scripture. They were so glad to see Jesus show up until they left the body and ran looking for Jesus.
Wow.
There are some people that want Jesus so badly till they will run from church. The so-called body, because they are looking for Jesus. We are great at churching, but nobody is showing Jesus. And so when people who have been seeing church all their life finally get a glimpse of Jesus, the first thing it can do is terrify you. Because you ain't never seen Jesus manifested like that before. I know that in our ministry, when we start seeing things like demons being cast out and folk resurrected from the dead and miracles taking place, it scares people because they have never seen things like that happen before. They're used to there being a certain number of songs, a hymn or something like that, the church following a certain protocol, and then when church does not stop at a certain time, they're like, well, what's wrong with these people? It's because you're used to church, which may be the rings, the roles, the regalia, the rituals and religion, but no relationship. And we're about getting a relationship with Jesus Christ. I tell people when you're going out to witness, do not invite people to come to your church, invite them to get saved. Give them to Christ. And then Jesus will direct them to a particular ministry. They may not ever get to your particular church, but they can get to a ministry if you get them in touch with Jesus. So now here's an argument that's going on between the people in a crowd with the body of Christ, so that when Christ comes down off of the mountain with glory all over him, because he was transfigured, he was there on the mountain. You have Moses, who was the recipient of the law, standing there with him. You have Elijah, who is the fulfillment of the law, standing there with Jesus. And Peter, James, and John are asleep when you've got the past, the present, and the future in one location, and they were sleeping at the time. And there are times when God wants to give revelation, but the church leadership is in hibernation. They have gone to sleep when Jesus is trying to reveal something that people have never seen before. You need to make sure that you share this, because somebody is going to be able to identify with what I'm saying, and it may help them to realize why they left church but still have this burning inside of them for more of Jesus. They have not gotten tired of church, beloveds. They have not gotten tired of the relationship with the Lord. What they've gotten tired of is people's presentation of church and people's presentation of Jesus Christ. I wish I could get some comments or something so I would know that you're out there. Come on, WBGR. Come on, YouTube. Keep reading, please, daughter.
And he asked the scribes, what are you discussing with them?
What's the discussion? What have you come that all the church can offer is conversation? What's the problem? And people are coming to the church knowing that you ought to be able to do more than just talk. You ought to be able to do more than just talk. Come on, please.
Then one of the crowd answered and said, Teacher, I brought you my son who has a mute spirit.
Teacher, I brought you. Now remember, Jesus was up on the mountain. But he says, I brought you, my son. Well, I was up on the mountain. Did you really bring him to me? Yes, because I brought him to your body. And I'm expecting your body to be able to do what you, the head, will do. And whenever the head is away, the body is supposed to be able to still function in the earth realm while the head is in the heavenly realm. We cannot see the head, but we see his body. So we are expecting his hands, his legs, his feet, his heart to do everything, because the hands, legs, feet, and heart don't move unless the mind tells them. So they are expecting to see the hands of God on earth, the feet of God on earth, feel the heart of God on earth, get the activity of God on earth, because they should be getting, those parts of the body should be getting the instructions from the head. That's why Paul writes and tells us that we are different members of the body, but we're fitly joined together. The toe can't say, because I'm not the hand, I don't need you. The hand can't say, because I'm not, and you know how it is. So he comes to the body and he says, I bought you, go ahead, my son. Here is a family issue. Here's a family issue. I love the fact, based on what Janice opened up with, here is a father who is actively involved with his child. Steph, you want to say something before I move on? She says, not at this point.
I'm listening.
Here is a father that is actively involved with his child. And he says, I brought to you what?
My son.
My son. I love this. He is owning his child who has some issues.
Can I ask you something real
Come
quick,
on.
Pastor? For those who may be listening, can you please, from a male perspective, because there is a difference between a father and a dad. And that was one of the things that we were discussing, because a role of a father is one thing, but a role of a dad is another thing.
Right. The father is one that has the ability to produce the child.
Absolutely.
The dad is the one that stays there to make sure that the child produces.
Even when the child have different...
It does not matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. That's why I was trying to share right here where it says that he says, my son. There are some dads who did not birth the child.
Sure.
But they wind up being the one that stayed around to make sure that the child was productive.
Yes, good.
That you have like I don't use the word stepdads, but I know that that's something you all can relate to, that the term of a stepdad or someone that comes into the family. You have grandfathers that raise children because the father, the child of the grandfather might have been incarcerated, may have been killed or something, and so the granddad says, I raised the father, now I'm going to step in and raise the grandchild. So it's sometimes you got uncles that are involved in the lives, and I've seen some cases where children had a distance between them, where it was an elder brother that stood in the gap as if he were the father.
Wow.
So there's a tremendous
difference.
need. If you go back and listen to some of my earlier teachings, you're going to see where I said that one of the things, because Janice had asked the question in one of our previous teachings, can a guy tell when a girl is needy or something like that? And I said there's an aura, there's a vibe that a woman gives off, and a guy knows when a woman is at that place, and he knows that he only has to say, I love you, and the woman immediately is going to melt and throw open her arms, her legs, her pocketbook, her home, everything. She'll throw everything open because she's been longing to hear a masculine soul say that to her, because she did not hear that when she was in the house, or did not hear it or feel it, And so there's a possibility that, as I shared on one of my previous teachings, go back and watch it, where a father can be in the house but be emotionally detached.
Exactly.
So he is not even in touch with his emotions, so he can't be in touch with the emotions of those around him, because as, listen, you are able to give out only to the degree that you have gotten yourself.
That's very true.
So
Very
so
true.
yeah, so here you got
a
come
comment
on.
on that?
Come on, daughter.
Just because I was raised in a single family home, I was around my mother a lot.
Me
but even though I wasn't around my biological father a lot, the times that I was around him sticks out in my mind.
Yeah.
More so often than all the times that I was around my mother.
Wow.
And it's only because it was few,
Right.
So I would remember them.
Absolutely.
But those actually help with the foundation on how I move and how I think, because it was a few, and
Absolutely.
it's easier to remember those few times
Absolutely.
than
All the
30
time.
years of my life.
Absolutely, and that's the beautiful thing when you think about it, because and that goes back to what Janice said, the impact. Because they were so few, you cherish them.
Yeah.
No, when
Not
I'm
you
saying,
personally.
when I'm saying cherish,
Yeah.
remember when I say cherish, I'm not talking about you embrace them.
Okay.
When I say you
Yeah.
cherish them, meaning they stick in your
and
mind.
it's not even on purpose.
Right.
I wish sometimes that wasn't the memory that I would remember.
Right.
I would want to remember other ones.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you said,
Yeah.
because it is so few.
I mean, you remember things because they are few and it sticks out. It doesn't always have to be good. Remember, I told you, it doesn't always have to be a good thing when a thing comes
Yeah.
together. It can be a negative thing, but it will stick out. That's why you have to get that book, No Longer Crippled.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Keep reading that, please. Good point, Steph.
Keisha, I brought you my son who
I
has
brought
a
him to
mute
you,
spirit.
and he has a mute spirit. Watch this. I brought you my son. We're dealing with this family dysfunction. I'm trying to get to the prodigal son, but I have to deal with some of the foundational things. He says, I brought you my son. Here is a father who is now saying this. Watch this. I brought you my son. I am owning him. He is mine. But he has a spirit. Now, a spirit means there is an unseen element that is affecting what I can see. I can see my son, but there is an unseen element, a spirit, something that I cannot see that is affecting him. And here's what that unseen thing is doing. It is a mute spirit. Mute means unable to communicate, unable to express himself. So he says, there is something that I cannot see that is causing my child not to talk to me. There is something that is going on in my child's life that is not allowing my child to have the ability to express himself.
Yeah.
There are some things that are happening that I am not aware of, even though I am the parent, that is going on in the life of my child that is making this individual that came from me not be able to communicate with me. If we're going to get into the root of some family dysfunctions, it's going to take some parents have to be so in tune with their child until they start recognizing that this really is not personal or an attack on me. There is something else that is going on that is causing them to respond the way that they do. And here's how I know it's not an attack on me, because I still have them.
Yeah.
He's got his son. It is not an attack on him. It is something beyond the son's control that is an invisible or unseen element that is causing his child to not be able to communicate with him. It is not that he does not have a mouth, he has a mouth. It is not that he does not have a tongue, he has a tongue. But it does not work together for him to be able to communicate with his father. Please.
Wow. And wherever it seizes him,
Now
it
watch
throw-
this. This spirit is supposed to be one that's just attacking his speech.
Yeah.
But it says it seizes him, which means that this spirit has now gone from one that not only keeps him from talking, but it controls him.
Yeah.
It has gone from communication issues to control issues. The spirit seizes him. It's at a point whereas he'll be doing good and it's as if something takes him over. It's as if something grabs him. It's as if something does not allow him to be himself. It seizes him. Go ahead.
It throws him down.
Watch this. It goes from communication to controlling, and then it gets to a place where it then winds up being, I'm seeing my dear friend walking past this glass. God bless you, Ginger. So good to see you. God bless you. It goes from the time where you are one that cannot communicate to them being one that is out of control. Watch this. And it says it throws him down, and then what happens?
He foams at the mouth.
Foams at the mouth. And then what else?
He gnashes his teeth.
Now, if you listen at that, what is it when somebody falls, starts foaming at the mouth, and start gnashing their teeth or chewing their tongue? A seizure. Because the spirit seizes him. It seizes him, and so he has what we call medically a seizure. Why? Because we are quick to give medical names to what is demonic activity so that we can medicate what is actually a menace of the devil. And you have got to stop trying to put medicine on issues that are spiritual. You're trying to give Ritalin to your children. You're trying to make your children be everything else. Your teachers have told you your child is ADHD and trying to do all of these things so that you can medicate what could be an issue if the parent would just get involved enough and have enough in them to say that something is not right. I'm going to get to the root of this, so I'm going to take my son to the manufacturer, the one that gave them to me. And I want you to get this. I know that this boy, come, I'm going to read it, Janice. I want them to see something. I want them to see this.
So I spoke to your disciples
I talked to the church.
that they should cast it out.
And I told the church, not that my son had a medical problem. I told them my son has a spirit and they should cast it out. I came to the church. It's something when the world knows what the church should be able to do, and the church says, we're going to hold a meeting.
Right.
We know we should be able to deal with this demon, but we need to have a discussion. The church has failed miserably. No caught up in the business of the church until we are not carrying out the church's business. We've got titles, as you stated, and we're not dealing with the tempter, the one that is coming, trying to deal with us. We're supposed to have some authority, and we don't have any authority, so the devil runs roughshod. How's he do it? Starting with our families. Starting with our families. Go ahead. Come
They
on.
could not cast it out, but they could not.
I told them, get the devil out of my son.
They couldn't.
Literally, watch this. I preached this message some years ago, and I got a lot of flack because I did a series, and the series was entitled, Lord, Get the Hell Out of My House.
Remember that?
And people gave me a lot of flack because they said, why is that? Because this boy had a demon in him, and he was going back to the house.
Yeah.
The woman whose daughter was possessed with a demon in Matthew 15 and Mark chapter number 7, it says, and it ran the girl out of the house.
Wow.
Jairus' daughter had a death spirit, D-E-A-T-H spirit on her. And death comes as an agent of the devil. And so we have to constantly get God to get the hell out of our house instead of trying to pretend that there ain't hell in our homes.
That's good.
He says right here what? I told them to do what?
I told them to cast it out,
Yep.
but they could not
I told them your job is to get demons out of children.
if you're a disciple.
You are supposed to be the body of Christ, a disciple. Disciple deal with the demon, and they couldn't. The disciple couldn't deal with the demon. All they could do was discuss it.
Wow.
They were having church
Disciple
meetings
discussing.
when they should have been dealing with getting people delivered.
Right.
Come on.
Wow. He answered him and said, O faithless generation,
Uh-huh.
how long shall I be with you? How long should I bear with you? Bring him to me.
Watch this. He says, faithless generation, talking to both the people and the church.
Yeah.
How long shall I bear with you? Bring him to me. I preached a message some years ago entitled, A Powerless Church, but a Powerful Christ.
That's good.
Please don't judge Christ by your church that has no power.
That's good.
Please don't think that Jesus is not able just because your church, your pastor, your leaders are not able. Don't think that God does not have authority just because your leaders want autonomy but don't have any authority.
Wow.
It says here, bring him to me. Go ahead.
Then they brought him to him.
Yep.
And when he saw him, immediately the spirit convulsed
They
him.
brought him, the boy, to him, Jesus. And the moment that he, the spirit, saw Jesus, then the spirit convulsed the boy. They brought the boy to Jesus. The spirit who was controlling the boy saw Jesus and tried to make the boy cut up, even though he was in the presence of Jesus. In other words, whenever the devil knows that his time is short and he's got to leave, he tries to tear things up to make you think coming to Jesus was useless.
Yeah.
Right.
He tries to make you think that coming and giving yourself to the Lord was useless because he tries to make, well, I had more of this when I was in the world. I had more of this before I got saved. I did better before I gave my tithes. I did better before I did such and such. Why? Because when the devil knows he has a short time, as the Bible says in Revelation chapter number 12, verse 11, Revelation chapter 12, verse 11, it says that, and when you read verses 10, 11, and 12, it says that the devil has come down to the earth full of wrath, knowing that he has a short time.
Right.
And when he knows his time is up, he tries to mess up more. Could it be somebody that's listening to me, watching me right now, that the enemy is trying to make you give up on your child? That's why he's got your child cutting up in your presence.
Wow.
That the enemy is trying to make you give up on your husband, on your wife, on that person that you're tied into. That's why they're cutting up like they are, because he knows his time is up, and he's trying to make you give up, because the last bastion, the last frontier is to try and make the parents who are the coverings of their children give up on their children. The wife who sanctifies her husband, give up on your husband. The husband who is supposed to be the stronger and the wife the weaker vessel, and he lays down his life for her, to give up on the marriage. Why? Because if the devil can make everyone who is supposed to be covering give up on their responsibility, then he doesn't have to do anything, because the world will be chaotic psychotic because he will have free reign. Keep going, please. There's the dysfunction of the family. I just gave you the whole family dysfunction. Go ahead.
And he fell on the ground and wallowed.
In other words, the boy was first walking, even though he would foam at the mouth, bite his tongue, and gnash his teeth. When he gets in the presence of God in church, he now starts falling deeper into what he had been taken out of and wallowing in it. It's one thing to fall. It's another thing to roll in what you fell in, because that means you plan on being there for a while. This is somebody that's talking, I'm talking to, and you're listening to me right now. It's not that you fell, it's that you have no desire to get up.
Oh, wow.
It's not that you have fallen, it's that you've made yourself comfortable. You are acting like a pig in pig slop by rolling in what you fell in, which is what the prodigal son did. He got into it, and it says he would have eaten the thing that fell to the pigs. Here he is now, rolling around in the dirt like a pig. Go ahead.
Foaming at the mouth.
Foaming at the mouth.
So he asked his father.
The boy went from being mute to being mute and gnashing his teeth, foaming at the mouth. Then from mute, gnashing his teeth, foaming at the mouth, to falling on the ground and wallowing. Demonic, you need to get my book, Learning to Soar, because I deal with this from chapter 7 on down through 10. Demons are progressive. They are progressive. They do not meet you one way and leave you that way. They are progressive. Please touch this.
So he asked his father.
When an unclean spirit, Matthew 12, 43 through 45, Matthew 12, 43 through 45, when an unclean spirit goes out of a man, goes out of a woman, when an addiction leaves, when a habit falls off, it goes out of you and walks through dry places seeking rest. And when it cannot find any, it comes back to its place. And when it finds that the place is swept and garnished, or everything is put in order, it goes out and gets 7 more demons, more wicked than himself, which means that the demon that left was not the most wicked, it was just the most influential. It goes and gets 7 more demons, more wicked than itself. And then they come and enter in, because it says, I will enter into my house. They come and enter in, and it says, then the last state of that man is worse than the first. The habit, the addiction, the sexual addiction, the drug addiction, the alcohol addiction, the weed addiction, the smoking addiction, the negative thinking addiction, the nasty as all get out and push addiction that my mother likes to talk about. All of those things, if you get delivered once, but you go back to them, you don't get out of them as easily as you did the last time, because now that demon has got 7 more demons who are not working. And 7 is the number of completion or totality. And they are now coming in saying that if you had wanted to really be free, you would have stayed free when you got free. But the fact that you went back, you are not going to get out as easily as you did the last time. And I'm out of time.
So easy to
I
choose
am
your
out.
choices.
You can choose your choices, but you cannot choose those repercussions. You can't choose the consequences. You can't choose the outcome. I am Brother J.E. Sturdivant. Who is you again? And you
I
is
am
who?
Janice.
And we really singing. And we are Back to Basics, Eyes of Faith radio broadcast. We
Yes.
approve this message. We encourage you next week at the same time on the same station, YouTube. WBGR, come on back. We're going to be here, and do us a good favor. Please share this, share this, share this, share this. Somebody needs this, and you need to get back, because now you're going to realize why your family is so dysfunctional, why they are so crazy and deranged. We want to help you
We
to
want to
get to
invite
the root
them
of
to
it.
also on Saturday, October 13th. We're doing Family Matters.
We're doing Family Matters on
Family Matters.
October the 13th. We're going to be there talking about these issues, bringing it all out, and we are going to unearth all of the things that have been hidden and covered, because the axe is laid to the root of the tree. And you can't keep inspecting fruit until you deal with the root. God bless you. We out of here.
You want to say something? Thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank you.
We can see you.
We
Oh,
appreciate
we
it.
see
Thank
you.
you. We see you, Ty Crawford. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you so much, cousin. I
Yeah.
appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Everybody that's on my YouTube station, I thank you so
Share,
much. I
share.
love you. Please share this, share this, share this. And don't forget, I'm going to be right back again this afternoon. I'll be again at 3 o'clock. So go to Church Talk Radio. We're going to be there, www.churchtalkradio. We'll be on there for that. And you need to check us out on that as well. I see you. God bless you, Gloria Montgomery. I see you. I see you. Yes.
All right.
I see some of you coming on there. Maybe you were there all of the time, but I could not see any
right.
messages from you.
We can't see it.
I
It's
saw
different
no
from
messages.
Facebook.
Thank
Cynthia
you
Bowden,
to
thank
Cynthia.
you.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you later. We will do that. Thank you. And I told you I need some more soap.
Ah,
So,
yes.
That's my
Please.
TLC soap. What you say? Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Like-
Not from that
I
perspective,
need some
like
for myself.
Whatever. I
it,
mean,
it,
like,
it helps.
yeah.
It helps. I
You
need
know.
some too.
she's like, yes,
I
please.
need some.
The timing of saying
Who
that.
is the
The Barber family. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm saying it's a good
No,
product.
your timing. Your timing was impeccable. You know, I need some more
y'all.
soap, please.
She did.
Didn't
You know
she do
what?
that?
You're right.
I'm cutting this
That
off.
was
Thank y'all, YouTube. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you so much.
She said she got you. She
Thank you
got
so
you.
much.